Welcome back to another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. I finally had a day off of work. I tell you, I've been working a lot. Started kind of getting this room ready. Finally, after a couple of months, trying to make it as a real type of crypto, you know, studio type office, I guess you would call it. And been changing a couple of things. First, everybody, welcome to the channel. I am the Grumpy Dad. And I've just kind of earned that name. If this is the first time you have stumbled across one of my videos, welcome. One thing that people say that I appeal to them is I'm a very real person. Sometimes people call that grumpy. I just call it being honest. I'd rather be honest to y'all, tell y'all how I really feel about things. Sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right, but at least you know I'm honest. I'm also a very rare thing in the YouTube world is I can also admit when I was wrong, and I will come on here and say when I'm wrong sometimes. So, I try to keep about as real can get. No fancy, as an older person, I'm not into all the fancy graphics, as you can tell, the fancy productions and swapping screens and stuff like that. Look, I told y'all I've been trying to get this room as more of a crypto friendly room. I actually added some monitors behind me. This is watching my Wingbits TAR 1090 screen, and y'all can't even see it. Even though I can turn around and see it perfectly, y'all can't see it because of the lighting in here. It's always something. I got another one behind me that has some charts on it, and even though that's a black screen behind it for trading view, can't see it either. Also, Mondays I have videos on all the 17, 18, 13, 14 projects I'm in, whatever it is, and I rank them from what ones make me the most each week on down, which ones are the worst investments. Also on Thursdays, I do a live 7 p.m. Central Time when I can make it on time from work. And it's just a BS video. I start talking about a couple of things and we just talk nonstop. As more people come in, we keep talking and talking, and I try to make it an hour long, but sometimes it ends up being 2.5, 3 hours long. And I got to just say, guys, we got to go. So check out those also. But that's me. So we're going to do a little bit of a different video today. Something that I rarely ever do. I don't like to give price predictions, but I just wanted something different. Looking at some price action, I thought, hell, why not do a kind of a different video than our normal deep in crypto mining type video? So let's jump into it. And here's my little disclaimer, because I really don't like doing these type of videos. Anytime I talk about possible price prediction or what I feel is going to be a good thing or not, it could just be indigestion. It's sad that some people still get upset with YouTubers after all this. I never want to be compared to like BitBoy, but I want everybody to know that I own these tokens. Everything I'm about to talk about, I own, and I'm probably purchasing more in the near future. Just want y'all to understand that chances are we're losing our money. And I'm using that advice because that's what Alex Becker, who I watch all the time, he has this same type of disclaimer, basically saying the same thing. Don't follow me because I don't want to hear anybody when they lose money. We are hurting right now in crypto, and it could go down even more. Make sure you understand that. Don't ever play with money in crypto that you can't afford to lose tomorrow. So read this, pause it if you need to pause it, but it's sad that we have to make sure we put something like this, but I want everybody to understand I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. So not only with that disclaimer, but you're also going to see this one. I know some of y'all are going to think this is all crazy and unnecessary, but I will post this a couple of times throughout this video, probably when I start discussing each one, because I want everybody to understand that I will come up with some outlandish things probably in this video. Some of these tokens are what they call boomer tokens that have been out for a while. Some of these are just ones that I like the way they look. I like the way the price action looks, and I could be way wrong. But most of all, the reason this is up there is because normally I don't talk about projects or tokens or price action unless I'm in it also. Some people like that because I have some skin in the game also. Some people vehemently hate it because they think I'm just wanting to use y'all for extra liquidity. Hey, let's be honest. I have 29,000 subscribers. Thank y'all very much. 100, 200 people that watch the videos. What am I going to get? 5 or 10% people that might follow me. I'm not, again, I go back to BitBoy and stuff like that. I don't have 1 million subscribers that are following all my projects. Plus, it's not like I'm going to be talking about these no-name coins where a lot of price liquidity coming in will give me extra liquidity. So with all that, if we follow from this point forward, you're taking the risk and understand that I could sell tomorrow. But I'm going to tell y'all, I'm in 17 different crypto projects right now as far as deep. And if any of y'all follow my Monday videos, I think it's like 17 right now. I haven't sold any. I sold a little bit of one airdrop on one project called Grass. And that's because the airdrop went up to like $1,000 worth of tokens. I took $100 something out on the hunting trip. And that was it. All these other projects I'm in, I'm holding them. The price action we're about to discuss in this video is not ideal selling. You don't try to catch the falling knife. And even though it hurts, you don't sell. And people who are complaining that this is a loss, this is a loss, this is a loss. This isn't a loss until you decide to sell at this price action. You're already down here at this low level. This is when, like me, one or two of the tokens we're going to talk about is the token right now is a lot less than what I was purchasing it at, meaning I'm just trying to bring down my average cost some. But let's get to it. All right, so now with all that stuff out the way, let's go ahead and get started on what you came to this video probably 10, 15 minutes ago. I have a bad habit of making videos way too long, but I like to put chapters in it. So I'll at least try to put chapters so y'all can kind of skip in between. But let's go ahead and get started. So leading off, I'm not really ranking this in the 1 to 5 type thing like that, but maybe when I get to 4 and 5, those might be a little more riskier because they're going to be smaller projects and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's going to be some comments because people love to make comments, but this is what I'm doing. And again, this is me just bringing y'all along for the ride, just like every other video. I want to make sure I keep saying that because I know I'm going to have some negative comments on this because there's 2 or 3 tokens I know that people are going to just spit their drink out at. Let's go ahead and get started. So number one, if you follow this channel at all, especially not last Christmas, December 2023, I gave out a couple of different meme tokens over those 3 or 4 months. And eventually I went like 4 for 4 on meme coin calls. The first meme coin that I stumbled across 2 days before Christmas, 2023, was WIF. Don't know how, I don't remember. And it was about this price when I stumbled across it. Might have been about 27, 26 cents, if I'm not, maybe 24 cents, somewhere around there. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday or this morning, let alone remember what it was years ago. But it was close to this price. This token has come down almost 91% since its all-time high of 485. Ladies and gentlemen, I've told people, I think this whole thing, the days of me putting $5 into crypto token and coming out with a Lambo, I think are long gone. Because even some of these meme tokens, there are 2,000, 3,000 literally meme tokens that come out every day on Solana and now Base and some of these other chains. What people have found is even if you do get lucky, right at the beginning of some crazy meme coin that didn't get sniped by bots and stuff like that, you go and put $20 in and coming out with 25,000 or 200,000. Well, people are finding there's no liquidity into it. You can have tokens worth all kind of stuff, and then when you try to take that token out, it's not there. So that's something you need to watch out. People have wanted me to start a Grumpy Dad meme token. This was several months back when the meme thing was really hot and heavy, and I looked at it as, I just don't want to see my friends get sniped. I don't want to see my friends put in for it. I had people who were willing to give me money to put early liquidity. Like, I just realized I would have been way over my head. It's not as fun as you think of. I'm gonna create this meme token and see what happens. And despite how people might feel about her, I'm not a big fan, or not a fan at all. But Hawk Tour is a perfect example of that. You put your faith and you name it to somebody who thinks they know how to run it, and they end up screwing people over. And now people want Hawk to a girl arrested, and I'll still say the girl can barely tie her own shoes. And y'all think she ran this meme coin scam, and they even said her own meme tokens were locked. She was the only idiot that had them locked. When the people who pre-sold were able to sell immediately, she got completely bamboozled on that one. I know I'm getting way off case, but with WIF, you don't have that. WIF at one point, don't quote me on it, but I want to say it was ranked like 20 or 25 on CoinMarketCap when you look at all the cryptocurrencies. That's crazy when you look at where this was. And to see where it's at now, ranked 122. Y'all going to hear me say this a lot, but I own a little bit of I did sell this when it was in the $3 range. I made very good profits off of it. And I have little on Trading View. This is the daily chart, and some people might think, man, WIF looks really bad. But this right here is the daily chart for WIF. And what you'll watch is, since November, it hit its peak right here. But you look at some of these other tokens, and here's November, and here's this peak. They have all kind of done this same thing. Now, Solana had a kind of a resurgence. It peaked here. It kind of had this little bit of resurgence, and then that also came down. Here's Atom. If you know, I have been purchasing Atom, DCAing Atom since it was at $40 in the last bull market, and I've continued. And I stake Atom on the Exodus wallet because it's had some good price action. It had some good staking rates. But again, same type of drop. Here's Crow. Same thing. My point I'm trying to make is that you see WIF has come down, and people can think, man, it's just, why would I buy that? It's coming down. But you've always heard these sayings that you buy when there's blood in the streets. And I'm going to tell you something. When there is a 27 fear and greed index, that's some blood in the streets. It's come up slightly, but I also think that this is not taking, and this is also more for Bitcoin, but when you look at the Bitcoin price compared to this, Bitcoin's still kind of up. It's not, when you get in doubt, zoom out, and you look at Bitcoin right here, and you got Bitcoin at 77,000, and today alone is dropped. Now, I'm not going to get nowhere political with this at all, because no matter what you say about some people, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin went up when Trump was elected, and I still think that if Harris would have been elected, we'd have never seen that type of price increase. It is what it is. But these tariffs, is no secret, it's killing us right now. But a lot of y'all who watch me know I like to watch Tyler. And Tyler says you're getting a short-term pain for long-term gain. That's what we're hoping this turns into. But when I was getting that, before I sidetracked myself with my ADD, is when you go in doubt and you zoom out, you're still higher than you were last year. We were 60,000 down to 50,000. Now you got this support level right here, and I don't know what's going to happen right here. This is a pretty straight shot down. You look at the 4-hour chart, that's pretty bad. So my point I'm getting with that is I really think that I don't know how often this updates, but I really think when this updates again, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit lower. But this was way down back when FTX got destroyed. Luna, the original Luna, got destroyed. And then people made money. I didn't get to buy a lot of crypto back when Bitcoin's 15,000, 16,000. I kept hearing it was going down to 8. And think about it. You would have bought a lot of these cryptos back then, you'd be up some. somewhere I read, while this shouldn't be used as a single indicator, it's kind of one sentence in a paragraph of what you should be looking at. And this isn't just crypto right now. I have a friend who's in stocks. He doesn't really mess with crypto, and he's panicking more than my crypto friends are. But I know I'm beating all around the bush here, but my point is you can't look at this chart and get and just panic about this price action. 14% down today and all this stuff like that. You can't look at this and just get panicked. WIF has been one of Solana's best tokens for memes. And this is what you got to look at. 93% down. So what you could really look at is more short term. It's only been 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, from 60 cents. So you can almost buy now and double your money. Again, not financial advice. I'm going to keep saying this over and over, but it doesn't take, when it gets this low, it doesn't take that much to come back up if we start having some good push. Now, a lot of this hinges on, and I didn't want to make the beginning of this video too long, but I'm taking too long on WIF, but it is what it is. But also a lot of this hinges on an alt season. You do have people who are out there now saying there's so much money with ETFs and this different stuff coming into Bitcoin that the alt season, and there's a lot more alts out now, a lot more projects out now, a lot more stuff spread out now, that you're not going to see this really hard alt season. Who knows? Who knows? Again, my disclaimer in the beginning says I'm not fortune teller. I don't know the future. Can't tell the future. But I still think there's going to be a pretty good alt season. I just think that when Bitcoin really starts moving, you're going to see people start going into the alt seasons and that kind of stuff like that happen. So with just to not saying that this is how much you should put in it, again, not financial advice or anything like that. I'm not saying I'm putting this in there, but just to keep it simple terms, you put $100 in today, right now, and if it just goes back to all-time high in the next in the current bull cycle, if you want to call it that, the next bull cycle, you're looking at nearly $500. $100 to $500, about 5x. Again, I think unless you're playing complete gambling in some of these crazy meme tokens, I think that those days are over, because for how many of those meme tokens you pick wrong? Yes, I was sitting here at one time looking at meme tokens as they're coming out, meme tokens as they come out, meme tokens as they come out. You can go to these different websites and you can see brand new listings kind of as they happen, how old they are and different things like that. It's crazy how many, we keep saying how many new tokens that they have that they're constantly listing. And there's been times where I've kind of watched the volume, kind of watched the change and stuff like that. It has a decent amount of holders, and I've played that game for a little while. And if you get in early enough and you get out early enough, like, these are not tokens you're going to hold for 2 days. You're going to hold them for about 30 minutes. And I made a little bit of chunk of change with that, but it takes one. It takes one, because they all going to have these flags on them. And yeah, you put $20 in, you might make 100. You put $10 in, you might make 100, depending on how early you get in. But it takes one to get that liquidity pooled. And I just kept putting my money, put in 20, make 40. Put in 40 in the next one, make 80, make 100. Put 100 in the next one, go to 150. Put 150 in the next one, and then 2 minutes later, liquidity gets pulled, and I'm got zero. So when you can play those meme games if you want, but you can also buy WIF and you get your 5x. Because I tell people that in some of these crypto projects, You make a 5x in this one. 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 That adds up after a while. That's where you're putting decent money in. Because I've told people in my previous videos and stuff, a lot of my tokens that I've suggested over the last 3 or 4 years I've had this channel, this channel is not about looking for Lambos. This channel is just about being a little more financially set, that when your family wants to go out to eat, your family wants to go on vacation, you got an emergency, you want to go, you don't want to have to worry about looking at your checkbook. You got the liquidity in your checkbook there, your money in your checkbook there. And maybe I'd like a boat. I've always said I don't want a Lambo because I can't fit in a Lambo. And then looking at the boats at the boat show last week, if y'all saw my video on my other YouTube channel, The Grumpy Dad Outdoors, it might be cheaper to buy a Lambo. But anyway, my point is, while these tokens we're going to talk about are not going to be 100x tokens, a 5x in this token, and 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 this token, they add up. I tell the videos all the time about how a DCA always into, some of these tokens. And yes, I'm not expecting them to go crazy. Or I'll even take my helium from my helium project and I transfer that into other ones to let it go up. But you look at what the helium price is now. We're going to talk about that shortly. Maybe I won't be moving helium, but I know this isn't sexy. I know, Alex and them put out these videos about some of these sexy AI tokens that might get you 100x and stuff like that. Well, they might not. These are going to be boomer tokens like this. I call it boomer tokens. Might be a little bit safer, but still have, good reason where they could go up. Now, moving on to our next token. This token is going to be a little more than a 5x if it goes to all-time high. So basically everything I just said 30 seconds ago, throw it out the window, because I'll be dead honest with y'all. When I was putting this list together, this is a token that I have been DCAing in since probably 2018, 2019, and I've just been stacking it. It makes a little bit of interest in the Exodus wallet, but that's not really why I'm into this one. I'm into this one just because of the possible price action, the projects behind it, and it doesn't cost that much to get into it. So what's our number 2 token? Number 2 token is VeChain or VET. For some reason, this one did not get a lot of love in the last bull run, but people made some pretty decent money from it. And here it is again with that perfect opportunity. And really, I probably should did a little bit of homework before to figure out which ranking I will put this. That's why I said I'm not really put this in some, ranking, but I like this one more than I even like my previous token with. I DCA into VeChain almost every payday. For those who, again, don't watch all my videos, I usually try to take, if I can afford it, I have kids, I have teenagers, car notes and stuff like that. I'm not going to sit and act like I'm some big money YouTuber. I'm not. I think I make $1.50 per video. And sometimes I don't have $100. Sometimes I only have $20 or $40 to DCA into my tokens. VeChain or VET is one that I try to reliably put into every time. VeChain, I try to tell people when it gets below 2 cents, that's the pouncing time. And it is below 2 cents right now. When it goes below 2 cents, I usually up or if I get some kind of extra money in between paydays, I'm usually stacking that VeChain, VET, whatever you want to call it. You look at what that all-time high is, and just like the scenario that I used for WIF, you can also see it playing out here. You're down 76% from where you at now, just since the beginning of December. So just to get back to where it was in December, you can sit here and say that that's a 3x right there. If all this plays out, again, not financial advice, I'm going to say that over and over to y'all. I don't want to hear it. VET is something that I have a big holding, and I'm making sure that people are aware of this, but I'm still stacking that holding, that and the next coin I'm going to talk about, because they go hand in hand. But you're looking at, if you purchased, again, I'm gonna use it just for scale, $100 of this token, just $100 of this token right now. If this token just gets back to all-time high and nothing else but all-time high, your $100 will turn into $1,400. It's like a 14x, right? Again, I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna keep saying this over there. I know y'all sick of hearing it already. If this plays out, just trying to bring some of this stuff to y'all's attention. VE Chain has several projects behind it. But not only that, they're also coming out with their Visa card soon. VE Better DAO is Visa is coming soon. It's going to be a game changer for VE Chain users. So VE Better DAO is a project that is under the VE Chain network, and they are releasing a Visa card, and you'll get some type of VE Better awards and stuff like that for using it, including bonuses that they're doing, stuff like that. Not really here for that type of thing. My point is just to show you what VeChain, and that it's not a meme type token or anything like that, that they do have projects behind it and what the projects are doing. So some interesting things about VeChain. VeChain actually was started in 2015, and then eventually in 2018, like I said, this is kind of when I got involved in it. VeChain rebranded to the current VET that it is now on its own blockchain. So that was cool. Also, I know some people are very interested in this, but VeChain's website states its energy consumption is equal to just 0.04% of other blockchains. So they got different things like that. They proof of authority, and like I said, they got projects on it, and it's being used. Without making this video longer than what it needs to be. And again, I'll say one of the biggest takeaways from this is when you look at how far this has come down from all-time highs back in April 2021, you're down 92%. And I'll kind of like this price action. Unlike some people that don't like to see these type of tokens drop this fast and stuff like that, with VET, I hope it goes down a little bit more. If this is going to keep getting hit, and crypto's going to keep getting hit, and you don't know what's going to happen with all these tariffs and stuff they're doing, let it go down some more. Hell, let it go back down to 0.015. I will say with VET, though, you don't see that crazy volatile price action like that. It does, slowly come down, slowly go up. But I've seen where you see this other price action where stuff's really dropping fast, and VET's only kind of come down slowly. So that's what I'm putting my money into right now when I DCA shortly. And we'll see what happens. So going into token number 3, we won't have to go that far. And while VET is on Coinbase, this is on Coinbase also. And I bring it up because some people don't want to go through the hassle. What I normally DCA in is on usually very easy exchanges to get to. So while we talked about VET, one thing we didn't discuss is its gas token. So while the names are somewhat similar, there is a difference. This is the gas token for VET, VeThor. And with VeThor, as I said earlier, Exodus does give you some percentage of staking. I stake all of, and look, you don't even have to actually press stake on, just from holding VET or VeThor in your Exodus wallet, you make a very small percentage, 1 or 2% or something like that, of VeThor. Now, one thing I want you to notice about VeThor is it is a much lower price, where VET was at almost 2 cents right now. This is at almost 0.02 of a cent. But it gives us a chance to make a little more tokens, a little more money, a little more income, whatever you want to call it. I make sure I also try to DCA in this. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't DCA in this as much as VET, but just because I'm trying to buy other stuff too. But when you take $100 worth of this token. And then you turn around and you look at what the all-time high was. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because I know I'm straight with y'all. I don't know where Coinbase pulls this from, because a lot of the charts I looked at had 2 cents or 3 cents and stuff like that. But Coinbase is pulling this at 4 cents. And if we just get to all-time high, now again, I keep saying that with these projects, but all-time high is just kind of a basic aiming point. How about that? We would hope that in a bull market, a strong bull market come right now, we should be able to pass up, if we're lucky, pass up these all-time highs. Again, who knows? Who knows? These could all be all boomer tokens, and none of them see price action, and only the new greatest tokens might get that. But again, it's crypto, it's gambling, it's buying lottery tickets, whatever you want to call it. And we got to look at it like this. But you taking strictly $100 right now, again, we're just using that for basis so we can be the same against everything. If we get 1,000 tokens, $100 worth of tokens right now, 100 tokens right now, and we get back to this all-time high, you're turning your $100 into $2,200, $2,200. Hell, even if it just goes to a 3 cent all-time high, you're still making like $1,600, $1,600 off your $100. So that's some pretty good chances. Hell, even if you look at where this token was, we were using, for example, just January or this November, December, just anywhere around there. When you look at where this is the 4 hour, where these candles closed at, okay? Where these candles closed at, you're still looking at a 4x from here. A 4x of whatever you buy right now. You want to go to the top of the candle, even though it didn't close there, that's 0.0, it's almost 1 cent. 1 cent. That's a 5x. Again, hey, I ain't guaranteeing it's happening. Just showing you the facts. Showing you the facts of what it is. Everything's on this downward spiral right now. Everything. And how many times do we buy? I wish I would have bought Bitcoin back at 15, 16,000. We all say the same thing over and over. And a lot of YouTubers talk about this. We all say, man, it's going up. I lost my last chance. If it would just go down one more time, if this would just go down one more time, I'm buying all in and I'm getting in. I'm getting in. And then when that happens, we all panicking, scared, fear and greed index. And nobody's buying in. And then when we see it all going back up, and you see that price going back up, then you can sit back and say, man, I wish I would have taken that chance. You never know. Or the people who don't want to follow this video and don't buy VET or VTHOR or WIF so far, say, I ain't listening to this dude. This dude don't know nothing. Should be eating some nachos. Sounds like he's drinking his bourbon already. I haven't, but VET, VTHOR, WIF could absolutely do nothing for the next 10 years. And that guy's going to be right. But isn't all of crypto just a crapshoot at this point? When you think about it? I think so. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's VTHOR. You can get VTHOR also on Coinbase. You can get VET on Coinbase. You can get WIF on Coinbase. So that's 4 different ones right there that you can, 3 different ones right there that you can easily get on Coinbase with no issues. All right, our next token is another one I've told you that I have DCA'd into the past. It's something that has really got a lot of momentum several months back. You don't hear as much sexy stuff about it now, but it's always the flashy new stuff that everybody kind of gravitates to. This project is still building a lot of stuff. Meme coins. It's kind of, it's an overall good token. It's just been kind of bitten by the same bug that these other ones on. So I'm here to remind you about it, show you some price comparison, show you where it was. And when you see where it was at its all-time high and where it is now, I think you agree that it's probably going to be a pretty decent, pricing opportunity for you to buy in if you want. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I have no idea what's gonna happen with it, but let's take a look at it and y'all tell me what y'all think. So our next token here is Avalanche. And I'm sure you're gonna be like, yeah, we were hearing 6-8 months ago all kinds of stuff about it. I even told everybody about Big Red, which back then Big Red was a meme token on Avalanche. And they had some good momentum going to them. Price action. You look right here, just back in December or January, this token was right at about $60 almost. And you look at it now, 15. That's about a 4x right there, 5x, about 4x, just for it to get back to where it was in December. You know, when you look at what the all-time high is $146 in this token, and it's down about 89%. So if we sit here and we do the normal comparison that we did, you're buying $100 of tokens today. That only gets you about 6 tokens. But for it to get back to all-time high, you're looking at nearly $1,000. That's about that's a 10x from $100 to $1,000. You know, I don't have to go back and check my math. It's in the 900s, but it's easier just to say 1,000. But you know, because if it keeps, by the time y'all watch this and it keeps this price action going down as it's going, it would be pretty much a 10x if it gets back to all-time high, which when you look at all of the projects and everything going on with this chain, there's no reason to think you wouldn't. When you look at the price action, again, it had this big rise up here to $160 something, came back down sideways during the bear market and started having the momentum again. Again, people start talking about it, some good things about it. And just like everything else, in November, it started this downward price action again, just like a lot of other stuff. You know, you can look at what Avalanche has got going for it. You got some kind of institutionally FX liquidity on chain powered by Avalanche. Waiter moves to Avalanche, brings $20 trillion worth of commodities market on chain. And Avalanche expected to outperform Bitcoin by 2029. Look, I'm bullish on AVAX, but that's what they said, not me. You know, and I've always said a lot of y'all don't come to me TNA. I pretend like I know how to read charts and kind of look for things that some other people don't see. Sometimes I think they get too cocky and think they see things, and me, I like to take this approach back that, well, maybe this can happen. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But like, you know, you have this $14, $15, $12 area will be key, and they could do this bounce back with a bullish reversal and stuff like that. And I understand that's what the charts say, but the charts aren't computer programmed to say, okay, it did this, now it's got to do this. It's still about the buying action, and that's not just this token; that's all these tokens. And until we get this global market problem or issue straight with tariffs and stuff like that, and now, you know, you have just today's Sunday, April 6th, but I'm watching the news while I'm also kind of messing around with this, and you're watching some countries that want to come to the table now and want to do a fair trade deal. That's what these tariffs are for. These tariffs aren't to make all this money. These tariffs are to make trade fair. In the past, these countries were charging us and overcharging us, and now we're trying to make it fair. So what do you have countries doing? Countries saying, hey, we want to quit tariffs and be on this even thing. We won't charge y'all don't charge us. And you got some countries that think they're going to play games with Trump. You should know that lesson by now. The man, he's a madman, sometimes a good way, sometimes a bad way. Business is a good thing. When he's bullying, it's a bad thing. But you're not going to win, dude. You're not going to win trying to double and triple tariffs on us. You know, some countries just aren't really thinking in a straight head. Look, I'll tell you, I don't want to make this political. Every candidate or elected person has their pros and cons. And that's all I'm going to say about that. My point is, it's hard to do all this TA stuff and look at this chart behind me and draw lines and triangles and descend in this and head and shoulders and head inverted and do all this stuff when you don't know what this man's pulling out of his back pocket tomorrow. And that's the fact. So we'll see. And that's why we don't know it's going to have these live price predictions. People are expecting big. I still say, we said this with Trump, was that for the first time, you're going to have pro crypto legislature put in place. And you're going to have a pro crypto cabinet, up executive level stuff that's all into crypto. Why wouldn't it succeed? These tariffs are hurting stocks as well as crypto. He's doing what's overall what he feels best for the country. But long term, for the next 3 years, when he gets this done with the tariffs, he'll have 3 years left. If it takes a year to get the tariff stuff straight, he'll have 3 years left of whatever else he needs to do. And we hope that bounces us into the next bull cycle. I went back and forth last year, back and forth in videos and telling people that, people who thought the bull cycle was starting right after the halving last year. And I kept trying to tell people because of NFTs and stuff. And I kept trying to tell people, you can't go off of that. This one's going to be different. And you have people arguing, and you have people on YouTube doing their own videos saying the cycle is the cycle is the cycle. Well, you can't say that now because every cycle we'd be well into a Bitcoin bull run, if not the alt season by now. We are almost a year since the halving. 420, I think, was the halving because everybody made a big deal with the 420. We April 6th. Our bull run should have really been started. We saw some positive action on Bitcoin. That was about it. So I know I ain't going to deal with AVAX, but I just want to make sure I get all that in. So that was AVAX. Again, you're looking at a pretty decent, if it goes back to all-time high, you're looking at almost a 10x from there. And it's a solid token. You can see that it is currently ranked 16 on coin market cap, right above SUI. And Shiba Inu, and you kind of look at what's ahead of it. And I think you can pass some of these up. That's my project. I mean, my prediction. Could easily pass some of those things up. So that's Avalanche. And I have 2 or 3 in my mind I would love to tell you all about, but I'm going to try to keep it somewhat safe for now. And I might give a couple of honorable mentions or just a couple of mentions at that. Let's see what happens. But let's go ahead with our number 5 token. Now, for number 5, I'm going to ask y'all to give me a little patience. Don't X out of this video. Please, before we get too far, please make sure that you hit the thumbs up button below. Help me out here, trying to build this channel up some more. So y'all can help me out. I appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button. Even you might not disagree with who's 1 through 4. Hey man, I'm trying, giving y'all something to watch in these hard times. Maybe giving y'all a little bit of hope, some hopium that these tokens go up. So for number 5 here, please don't unsubscribe because I know there's a lot of people who follow me who were in this project or still in it. And while I am going to mention the project a little bit, I want you to just hear me out and realize the basis of this is strictly on what the price action is currently, what it was only just a few weeks or months ago, and what its all-time high was. And the project I'm talking about, or the token I'm talking about, that I would probably DCA into some right now is Helium. I know I owe some of y'all keyboards. Y'all just spit y'all's tea all over it. But again, I want y'all to hear me out. Yes, the price of Helium sucks. You have to separate what I'm about to tell y'all. Separate yourself from, if you were mining this, to just say a crypto investor buying AVAX or any of these other tokens we talked to. You're down 60% in a year. But Helium is a project that is still going, still expanding their cellular service. Before not too long ago, they were split between the IoT side and the cellular side. They have now brought that back together. And it wasn't too long ago where we were looking at almost an $11 helium token. Again, we use this same price comparison timeline that we did in these other videos. And here you have November, December, where it hit almost $10.50, $11, and we're down 77%. So when you look at this, hell, you could 5x your money just getting back to what this price was in November or December. We're not even going to talk about yet what all-time high is, because I'm not going to sit and lie to y'all in this video. That I know that I don't do a lot of these videos. I need y'all to have the faith to come back when I do the next video of 5 tokens or something like that. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. While I will do the calculation like I did with these other videos, I don't know if I feel helium's gonna go back up to all-time high. There have been some things that have changed. There's a lot of momentum going on back then, but there are customers, companies using their network. And, you know, one time they were up to 900 something thousand nodes, miners, whatever you want to call it, around the world. And it's had a lot of an adoption. Now, the fact that there's only 300 something thousand of those nodes means it does mean something, but also you have a lot of cellular subscribers coming online. You can't beat what the cellular cost is. They are piggyback with T-Mobile. So you do have that. And I think, while I think some of this price action has corrected because of people, you know, leaving the project, where you had 900,000 going down to 600,000 or 500. Like, I will say, I always tell people in my crypto D-Pin project videos that you have to separate your feelings between, you know, price action and how you feel about the project itself. While you might not like the price action of, say, helium, the project itself is still going. The price action of being a miner in that sucks. My claim to fame that I've told y'all 1,000 times is that I and 2 other buddies, because we couldn't afford it together, separate, we bought a helium miner for $5,000 on eBay. Once we got it in, hooked it up, we ROI'd on that $5,000 miner in 17 days. I will never see $5,000 again, starting from now till infinity, on a helium miner. Hell, I have 17 miners online right now, and I think I'm clearing about $4 or $5 a day with 17 miners, maybe. That's probably less than that now because the price dropped. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you look at what this price action is, and again, you can buy helium at Coinbase. So there's another token that you can buy at Coinbase. But when you look at the daily chart, now one thing that's going to get messed up here is that at some point helium went from its, and I guess this KuCoin has it from its previous, but at some point around here, helium went from its own chain, helium chain, to Solana. So it did make that move to Solana. People thought it was going to help. And also, helium has its own halving also. So that's something else that you need to look at. Now, when we worry about deflationary or not having so many tokens and stuff like that, scarcity, those rewards get less and less. And, you know, while some people think the halving is going to make it jump up, we've had 2 halvings since we started mining it, and you didn't really see that greatest price action. People want to think it's going to be like Bitcoin and stuff like that, but so far you haven't really seen that. But Coinbase has its all-time high as $55. It is ranked, it was a top 100 token. It is now at 101. But you can see that the all-time high on this was $55. And so we use our same calculation for comparison. And we do the calculation, $100 worth of helium today, if it goes back to all-time high at $55. Again, this one, I'm not saying that I really believe that as much, but just to keep it fair with the other 4 tokens we discussed, we can use those same comparisons. If it gets just to all-time high, your $100 becomes $2,200, almost $2,300. It's like I guess a 22x, you could call it. That's crazy. If it gets back to the high, I would like to think that your helium, I'd like to see helium get back to the 25, maybe a $30. That's just my gut feeling. I have no indications of either one of those numbers being wrong or whatever. I think it's more or less what I'm satisfied in. I own a lot of helium, and then for a while we were mining IoT instead of helium. I converted a lot of my IoT to Solana, and I was buying Solana back at $8, $9, $10, $11 and telling people, just like in a video like this, telling people to get in Solana. I was telling that to people on the Facebook, and you look at where Solana even is now compared to that $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 range, and people thought I was a fool. I'm confident in the first 4 tokens to get back where we discussed. I'll be ecstatic if it gets back to $55 because of the amount of tokens I still hold with helium, but I also am trying to be somewhat realistic. $25 will make me extremely happy with the amount of helium tokens I'm getting. Extremely happy. With my miners, I think I'm making now maybe 2 helium a day out of 17 or 18 miners. 2, maybe a little more than 2. Right now, that's $4 each, just like I was saying before. You let this token get back to $25 a piece, that means I'm making $50 a day right now. And I'm going to talk about one of my honorable mention tokens in a second. I want to mention 2 or 3 other tokens, not that this video ain't long enough as it is, that we're still doing very well in mining also, if you like that aspect, if you're new to these videos. But you do have to somewhat give potential, hope to some potential of if you're mining right now and getting in from, unlike the first 4 tokens we talked about, we're mining this one. At least I am. Y'all can go to Coinbase and buy all 5 of those tokens. Are there other tokens I DCA into? Absolutely. Cardano. I think Cardano's low. Cardano is the stepchild that doesn't get the respect it deserves. I'll buy some Bitcoin. I think I got into late with Bitcoin because I always like the shiny object and the potential of the 5 and 10x of altcoins, and I missed out on the Bitcoin stuff. Now, with the way Trump is and the way these ETFs are working and the more and more token supply you're hearing about with a shortage, I'm trying to fill my bags a little bit more with some Bitcoin. But, buying $25 worth of Bitcoin every week or 2 doesn't feel in that fast at all. But hey, it gives me a little bit of exposure to it. And that's what I'm looking for. So those are my 5 tokens that I like, that I wanted to bring to y'all's attention, that I think have the potential of getting back to all-time high, close to all-time high. Some of those passing up all-time high. And as you can see, you can do some pretty good, rewards with that. So what I do want to talk about real quick is I'm going to tell you 3 tokens I'll call honorable mention. It was hard for me to narrow down 5 tokens for this project. I didn't want to call it 8 because 8 just don't sound right. I wanted to make it even out, but those first 5 are ones I really feel confident in getting back to all-time high or somewhat close to it. These next 3 are projects that I'm into, that I am accumulating. I wanted to bring it to you because it's projects that I just feel good about, that are out right now. And I just want to hit on just 3 of them real quick. First one's going to be Crow. If y'all are not using a Crow card, y'all are shooting yourselves in the foot. I got a Crow debit card back 2 years ago. And I wanted to get the dark blue card. I took 4,000 of my helium back then. And back then, helium was worth a good amount more. And you needed $4,000 worth of Crow to stake to get your dark blue, dark indigo card for Crow. So I needed about 4,500 to 5,000 tokens, maybe a little bit more than that. And you get your token. What I do is I just pay bills with mine. You have to preload it. So when I'm doing my bills, my electric bill, my phone bill, and a bunch of other bills, and I do my budget, I figured out how much I need, and I move that chunk from my checking account over to the debit card, and I pay with the debit card. And I make hundreds of Crow tokens. Now, at one time, Crow was $1 a piece. So my current Crow hold now, also you can stake, and any new tokens you got, you can stake. And it's about 6%, 9% sometimes, but 6% staking percentage. And again, with my projects, I am not trying to sell or anything like that. So I just keep restaking it. But again, Crow's all-time high was near $1. So you figure when I go pay some bills and I make 50 tokens, 100 tokens, or 20 tokens, go out to eat the other night and pay it with that card, and I'm making 20, 30 tokens, I could potentially, financial advice, you don't know the whole thing, just saying potentially, just if it gets back to all-time high, I paid for my own dinner to a point. It's me making 200 or 300 worth of Crow tokens while I'm paying bills. Same bills I'll be paying, same amounts I'll be paying. There's no difference in price. Same, you don't lose anything in the transaction or nothing. If anything, and if I go make 200 tokens for paying bills, potentially it's $200 I paid myself. So I'm getting all those tokens. My point is, right now, when I started with, again, I don't want to lie to y'all, it was 2 years ago. I wasn't really paying attention. I think I started between 4,500 and 5,000 tokens. I now have like 28,000 Chronos tokens. 28,000. Never bought another Chronos token since the first ones I bought with that debit card. So that's something I don't talk about a lot here. One time I brought it up and some people gave me a bunch of flack about the whole credit card, debit card thing, and rules have changed, some things have changed. I don't know if they changed or not. But either way, you can get a Crow app and buy Chronos with just the Crow app. And you don't need a debit card. And at 8 cents right now, you look at where this was, again, the same thing, where this was just back in November, December at 21 cents. That's a 2x, maybe a little bit more than 2x your money. But Chronos is something that has the reach to go. Now, there are some iffy things with tokenomics. They did have a big burn and burned a bunch of tokens. There's some kind of talk or vote to bring some of those back for only certain projects or certain things, and you would need to do a vote. I don't really agree with that too much. That is the one reason why I didn't make my top 5 tokens. So that's Crow. All right, so my second honorable mention one is something that I've talked about in my videos. It's very, very new, not a lot of history behind it, and that's why I didn't make my top 5, but it's just something I want to mention because I've mentioned it in a lot of my videos and I don't want to hear nobody say, well, why didn't you mention this token? This is a token that this channel is based on a lot of deep in projects. We cover a lot of deep in projects, and it took some time for this blockchain to get released. A lot of delays, a lot of projects that were supposed to be on this blockchain moved to other ones because of how long it took for them to get out, but now they're out. And I have been DCAing into that project since the beginning. Unfortunately, they came out before that November, December drop that we saw, and I've been eating that. But this project is Peak. Again, Peak's a project that Deepin is being built on. You have Deepin projects that are being released. Silencio is one of them. There are several other projects that are using Peak, and I think you're going to see this token eventually at some point have to come up just because of the sheer amount of projects on it. Again, this project only got released in November, November 16th. This is where where it shows it started here. And as you can see, at one point it was up to about 75 cents. It's down to 10.5 cents. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not buying up here. I bought when it first got released about this 39-cent sale, and then when I saw this coming down, I bought. And as it came back up, I bought all the way to about 40 cents. At 40 cents up here, I left it alone. When it came down, I did buy. When it came up again, I quit. And as it's coming down, I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm DCA and all the way in back down here, because with me buying up here, I want to buy at these lower prices to get this average cost down. Now, at this 10.5 cent, basically right now you're looking at, just for it to get back to all-time high, which realistically I think it easily could, because it's only 7.5x from here. I think there's a good realistic. This wasn't that long ago. Nothing has really changed with it since then. Silencio is fully established. That's the blockchain using it right now, the project using it right now. And I think Peak, just because of these deep in projects that are using it, no idea, just think that it has the potential. I've always wanted to get into a blockchain that's very new. And just because I cover so much deep in stuff, I think Peak has that chance. Who knows? That's why it's in the honorable mention section. And Peak can be purchased on the Crow app, or crypto.com app. I call it the Crow app. Crypto.com app. At last I knew, it was not available on Coinbase yet, but somehow they worked out something as a new token to get on crypto.com. So in the crypto.com app, you can buy Peak if you're interested. Last but not least is a project that just kind of changed their way of allowing people in. It is a little bit different, but this, again, I'm covering this video for people who want to purchase. Now, what I want to say about this project, this video is not about the projects, not about getting into projects or anything like that. This is strictly for people who have some extra money they found in the seat cushion, who just want to take a gamble, buy a lottery ticket. And out of all the tokens that I discussed this evening, this is the one that I'm probably the most cautious about giving y'all the advice to purchase. This is my wild card. That's I want to try to preface this as much as possible. I could be right on all the previous 6 tokens until this one, but I feel good about this project. And if you follow my videos at all, y'all know that I feel good about this project, because we're mining this right now at about a $7 or $8 a day, mining it. They have restrictions on trying to sell it. If you sell it, at one time you're out the project. Now you need like an NFT to get into the project, different things like that. They've changed a couple of different things on it. And if you want to buy this token, you're going to have to swap for it on like Jupiter Exchange, something like that. But even when you look at it on Bird Eye, you can see that it's had some volatility, price action. Again, I'm going to say this again. For those who aren't familiar with this project, this is kind of like a hope and a prayer potential if you just want to degen into something. But it's going to be Entropy. And Entropy has had some wild kind of pricing. We recently made some changes where they also, where we could pre-mint these NFTs. They took that money and entered into liquidity. But while we were doing all that, we had this price action that came highly up. And then when he went, created this pool and some liquidity, and he moved those tokens, it kind of brought everything back to this downside. But even when you look at where we were just right before all this, at a 0.00003, even to where we were until just earlier today, that you would have doubled your money just right there. So Again, who knows? Who knows? I just know that where this was at one point when it first came out, even when it came before that, you're looking at a pretty decent price potential right here. Entropy is listed on CoinGecko. I'm a little hesitant on telling y'all about it on CoinGecko only because for some reason this is still up here, which I don't know why, because they took care of this. These changes that they discuss that they could do don't exist anymore. They did at one point, they were flagged for it, but that was all taken care of. I discussed it in the video. But you can see they're doing about 6,000 in trading volume. Again, it's not even on the exchanges yet. If it ever gets on the exchange, it needs to. But if it ever gets on the exchange, watch out. This was the first mineable DPIN token that was out there, or mineable meme token. And we, for the longest time, we were using those little ESP32 devices, and now they're coming out with their own miner. We know that some people, for some reason, I don't know why, when it's a $6 miner, it looks cheap. You got to do it yourself. You got to sit here and program it yourself. And some people don't want to do all that. However, you go and buy an NFT for who knows how much it's going to cost, $150, $200, and then you have to buy a miner for $100. It makes the project seem more legit. I have kind of high hopes that when that starts happening, you're going to see all this kind of go up because you're going to bring more people into it. So, we'll see what happens with that. So, using some of our same examples we used before, buying $100 worth of this token will get you about, I think it's 1.8 million tokens or something like that. And even with that, if it just gets back up to this 0.006, 007 level, you're looking at like $1,800 off your $100. Gets back to this high, you're looking at, I think it was like $2,200, $2,300. You have the potential of it going back that high. And look, and even if it gets back to just some of these levels where it was going sideways at, you're looking at $200 off your 100, you're doubling it, but this again is just a complete wild, hey, you got some money, you don't mind throwing it away on something. It has the potential to go up, but this is a very, very passionate group of people. If you can't go anywhere around Twitter without seeing them sharing stuff. And I just felt I had to share it just because I'm curious to see that with these new steps with it, are you going to see this jump in token price that correlates with these new miners coming out in the next couple of months, weeks, whatever that might be, these new NFTs, the new way of getting the project, and they bring a new potential in. I know they are pushing it hard to the DPIN crowd, going to conferences and conventions and stuff like that. Who knows? That's why it's kind of like the last of my honorable mention type thing, because I'm just wanted to kind of mention it out there. I'm way more confident on my top 4 tokens I discussed. Number 5 is a hope and a prayer. I still think with number 5 with helium, while you might not see some of the potentials that you saw with the first 4 tokens I discussed, I think number 5 could definitely X your money. I don't think helium's going away. That project is still rocking and rolling. Maybe not at the satisfaction of what some people think, but who knows? Again, all of crypto is a crapshoot. Let's all be honest. We tell it, just like I put into the beginning slide that y'all saw, don't play with money that you can't afford to lose tomorrow. I use the same example over and over. People sick of hearing me saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it. Nobody saw FTX crumbling, too big to fail type of thing. And it did. And people lost billions. Nobody expect to wake up the next morning and not being able to get their dollars out, hundreds of dollars out, thousands of dollars out, millions of dollars out. Nobody expected that to come. Nobody expected Luna Classic, the Luna Terra, whatever it was, Terra Luna, told that story many times. I'm in that project also. You know, I guess I need to put my little disclaimer up last time. But all these tokens that we discussed today, I am in. Don't know when I'm going to sell them. I'm going to sell them when it's right for me. Or maybe I don't sell them. Maybe I trade some of them and trade them for other projects and other tokens. I did that for a while with Helium. You know, I wish I can get those back at right now at this price and then hold on to them. Because I think, well, I'm not going to buy Helium. That's for sure. You're not going to see me DCA into that number 5 because my miners, 17 miners, are doing that DCA, that dollar cost averaging, or basically that average buying or collecting or accumulating. It's doing that for me. First 4, you're going to see me DCA into those. Vet and VThor and AVAX, and finally WIF. Those are going to be my DCAs. I have not been DCAing a lot into WIF, but it didn't have this kind of price potential. Looking at that price potential, I think memes, while some people say, oh, the beginning of the seasons and all this stuff is always memes, and then after it gets real, we're almost in the bear market again. Bear cycle, you can call it. Memes might have this resurgence. WIF might have this resurgence, or it might not. Welcome to crypto. Hey, this is the Grumpy Dad. I appreciate all y'all who watched so far, who watched this video. It's a little bit different than you know, me just hounding on the Wingbits and the entropies and some of these projects I hit on. But I wanted to make something a little bit different when I was looking at this price action earlier. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please hit that thumbs up button. That helps me and the projects that are listed in my description. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. Check out my other channels I have also. I have some outdoor channels and stuff like that, ham radio stuff. And we have new projects that'll be coming out soon, Wingbits. If y'all haven't ever seen, if y'all are new here, it's a new potentially big project. And I think, you know, the only reason I don't mention Wingbits for y'all to purchase, the only reason, because it's still in beta and you can't get it yet. There's no reason for me to mention it. When they get released, I think the potential with that project is going to be that, and maybe like the Chirp project. Those are going to be like your Helium version 2.0s. Helium, when you were making 15 cents a day in the beginning, that eventually went to $44, $54. I'm not saying that kind of price action for those two projects, but I'm just saying you get in early with the exponential. You may want to look into DCAing into that responsibly. We will have videos for that when that occurs. When Chirp goes, when Wingbits goes live, trust me, you're going to see some videos from me. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe. And there'll be videos about purchasing the token, purchasing the miner, and getting involved in that. So y'all have a great week. Mondays, I do, for those who are new here, I do the videos where we go over all of our projects, ranking them, what makes the best, what makes the worst. And on Thursdays, every Thursday, I have a live. Come and join in on live. It's a great time. I only try to make it an hour, but people keep coming in and asking all kinds of questions, and we just keep going until I finally said, okay, guys, I can't do this no more. I have to go. Sometimes it's 2.5 hours long. Y'all come check out my channel. Appreciate everybody who's new here. Thank y'all very much, and see y'all in the next video.